Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. Today I want to talk to you about the album that I've just released called Decisions in Another Language. So that's what the album art kind of looks like. It's a picture that I took up in Derbyshire somewhere. And it's a sunset because the whole point of it is it's a breakup album basically, and the whole idea is sort of closing one chapter and just moving on, right? And finding your new future for yourself. As opposed to you as part of a duo or a couple or whatever, right? That's the general idea behind the album. It's semi kind of concept album. A lot of long songs on it. There's like a 10-minute, there's an 11-minute, there's a 9-minute, 6-minute or something like that. Anyway, there's a lot of long songs on it, and I like my long songs. I like my long, sprawling kind of soundscapes, and I wanted to do something that was a bit more thought out and long form in terms of the production of it, because I know I preach a lot on this channel about making things very quickly and making things very efficiently and just getting stuff out the door. And for this album, I've been working on this album for a long time, and the idea is that I've been developing these skills with the guitar. I'd probably made about 12, 13 albums by that point, and I thought, right, it's about time that I actually just sat down and just made one proper album where I can sit and say I'm honestly, genuinely happy with every single track on it and remain happy with every single track going forward. Because what I tend to find happens is, when I was releasing albums, and still to a degree actually now, is I'll release an album and I'll be happy with every single track, and then as time goes on, I'll go back to one track in particular and be like, actually that was a load of shite. And then I'll go to another one and I'll be like, oh Jesus Christ, I released this. And you know, I've gotten a few comments lately that have sort of disagreed with my idea of publishing anything. They seem to agree with the idea that you should make stuff quickly and efficiently. Like, I did a video about making 100 songs as quickly as possible, because apparently your first 100 songs are going to suck, so you just make them as quickly as possible. And a lot of people disagreed with my idea of actually releasing those songs. And I feel like I should clarify something. I don't think you should necessarily release every single thing that you do, but I think that if you've sat down and listened to it and thought, this is fucking sick, right? I'm loving this, then it's worth releasing, because if you like it, even at some point, even if you grow out of liking it, someone else will probably like it as well. I mean, I'm sure there's a song that you liked 10 years ago that now you go back and you're like, fucking, what was I thinking? Why did I like that? I used to like, there was a Nightcore version of some Rihanna song. I can't remember what the Rihanna song was. And I liked that about 10 years ago. And I look back at myself now, and if I had a time travel machine, I would genuinely sit down and interrogate my past self, because I don't know what I was thinking, okay? So there's room for everybody to kind of appreciate what you're doing, especially because it's not that hard to hit the upload button. There's this whole thing of like, oh, there's so much crap out there, right? So you shouldn't add to it. Well, why not? It's not like you not and going on like this hunger strike of not releasing your stuff is gonna suddenly fix everything, and now there'll just be a perfect amount of good stuff everywhere. They say that 90% of everything is crap. I think it's much more like 99%, right? But the more stuff that's out there, the bigger that 99% is, the bigger that 1% is, right? And if you make 100 songs, then you're by definition probably going to be in that 1% by just the statistics of the numbers themselves. So I don't see why you shouldn't try and why you shouldn't publish, because it's only an upload button. And if people don't like it, they won't like it. You'll get a couple comments going, this is a load of shite, and then you can just get on with your day. And that's totally fine. But the alternative is that you know, people come and they respect what you're doing, they actually get behind it and they actually like it, and they actually find something in what you're saying. And that can be a beautiful thing in and of itself. Like, if I took the sort of idea of not publishing everything, I wouldn't be here now talking to you with, like, this video will probably have like 300 views, and some of them get like a couple thousand views or like 10,000 views, and I wouldn't be in that position if I hadn't taken the risk of just uploading stuff just non-stop, right? So why not? Okay, because it's just an upload button, it's free. It's not that you got to pay for each time you upload something. And worst that happens is someone listens to it and doesn't like it. And that's just the nature of art in general. Like, I watched the first half hour of Killing of a Chinese Bookie earlier. It's John Cassavetes' thing. And I was really excited for it, because I thought, John Cassavetes, I really like him. I liked Woman Under the Influence, and I thought, Killing of a Chinese Bookie, it's going to be good. I watched the first half an hour of it, and I just thought, what the fuck is this? genuinely, I did not like it. I really didn't enjoy it, right? And I turned it off after about 35 minutes. And it was a shame because, he's a good director. And you know what? Other people like the film. I don't like Dune. Other people like Dune, okay? I like Joel Haver's The Hero's Journey. Other people won't like it. So we're not all just like this big homunculi of a species where we all like the exact same thing. So you need to take risks. Like if you told someone about 15 years ago that people now would be scrolling through something called TikTok with fucking Subway Surfers on the bottom and just some garbage clip from a podcast on the top, they'd say no motherfucker would watch that. But they do. They do watch it, and they do not enjoy it, but they certainly watch it to the end. So they obviously get something from it, enough to keep themselves going. They're obviously engaged, and it's lighting the things in the brain, the neurons, and it's releasing the dopamine and all that sort of stuff. So it clearly works. And if you can develop that onto creating some kind of actual engaging actual content rather than just short form garbage, then why not? So making an album is a pretty pure form of expression, I would say, because music as a whole is generally quite vulnerable as a thing, particularly like quite sad music. Like a lot of this album is quite sad. It's all about my fucking divorce, so it's generally a kind of a miserable sort of album, right? And a lot of it's in minor, a lot of it sounds sad, but when it gets a bit happy, that kind of makes you feel something, and when it goes this way, it kind of makes you feel another way, and so on and so forth. And the kind of general idea is that everyone will take something a little bit different from it, depending on their own circumstances. Some people might be in a relationship now that they're not particularly happy with, and they might be listening to my album Decisions in Another Language, and they might get something out of it that's different from someone who's recently going through a breakup, or someone who's never been in a relationship ever, and they're listening to this. All three of those categories of people will get something different out of the album, and that was kind of the idea. And that's the idea behind music in general, and the emotional vulnerabilities behind music, right? Because you can say stuff in a song that you can't really say in real life, because it's too, I don't know, too from the heart, that people would think that it's sort of a little bit much, or a little bit not right, and you can kind of it's almost confessional, the album, in a way. I don't confess anything, but it's certainly the most personal a project that I have ever done and plan to do for the foreseeable future. So I'm just going to go through the track list, right? There's 7 tracks on the album plus 2 bonus tracks, right, that you can get on Bandcamp. So the first song is called Communication. And the point of this album is it's a divorce, and the two people that are in that marriage, right, go on their separate journeys, right? And that kind of happens in the first couple tracks. So the first track is obviously communication, is breaking down. It's a breakdown of communication. So it sounds like that. So it's C sharp minor and G sharp minor. So it's literally just that, and then goes into this. And then this. And then it just kind of does that again, and then it returns to the C sharp minor, and that's the general idea for the first part of the song. And then it kind of goes into this total ambient section, which was because the whole point of this song is it's empowering sort of thing for the person leaving the relationship, the person that initiates the divorce, right? It's an empowering thing of like, you're getting out of this horrible thing, a new chapter's going to begin, and you can close the book on this obviously quite shit book that you've just been reading for ages, right? And you can move on, you can spread your wings and fly. That's kind of the idea of the song, right? And then it goes down into the quiet sort of stage, and it comes back into an almost alien feeling synth world sort of thing from a guy called Dabadeya, who's from Chicago, I believe. Really amazing synthesizer, synth man. He helped me out with the synth sounds and all the weird sounds that are on the song. So thank you so much to him. I'll put a link to him down in the description so you can check out some of his music. It's quite good. And then the album then goes on to the song So I Guess This Is It, which is similar in that it's from the same perspective of the person leaving, but it takes more of a melancholic approach rather than the empowering sort of spread your wings and fly sort of thing. It's more of a, you know, this had to be done and I didn't really want to do it, but I kind of had to. I was kind of left with no choice, you know. And then it also shows the point of view of the person, like it's a little bit of the person who's being left behind in the chorus, sort of waiting for the new world to begin, essentially. So, how's it go? You were the sun. Hang on. I can't. Hang on. You were the sun that lit up the sky. I was something. I don't quite know why. I forgotten the words to my own fucking song. And I seem to have lost the plot to play. Yeah, I can't quite remember how you play it. It's something like that. I used to be able to play it and sing it at the same time. I've obviously failed now. But basically the idea of that song is that it's taking the same empowering ideas, putting them on, turning them on their head, right? That's the general thesis of the So I Guess This Is It song. And it's a lot more of a somber sort of thing. I figured, you know, you've had the intro banger kind of thing, that was like the high energy kind of thing. So now let's have a bit of low energy. Because a lot of the album is quite low energy. That's kind of the point of it, because it's not exactly a happy album, right? And then it goes into this sort of chorus, like, and I am done with you. So I guess that this is it, the end of all things. So I guess that this is it, the end of all things. Between you and I, the earth and the sky, waiting for the mailman to descend. And then it goes, so I guess, and then it just goes into the, does it again. So yeah, it kind of got the low energy and the high energy kind of thing together. The song's also a bit of an annoying kind of thing because it messes with tempo, so the chorus is a little bit faster than the verses. It was the first song I wrote for the album, and when I first wrote it, I wasn't actually going to do a whole album about the divorce thing. I was just going to do 2 songs. I was going to do one from my perspective and one from the other perspective. Right, that was the kind of idea. And then I was talking to someone and they at the pub, and they liked the fact that I was doing both perspectives, and I thought, all right, maybe there's something in this that I can maybe do something more with this and experiment with this idea to actually expand it, right? And so I started thinking, right, how would I structure this? And I figured, well, logically, you would start basically at the end of the marriage and then just see the diverging paths. That was kind of the idea. So you got a couple songs from each perspective. For instance, the song Buongiorno Straniero is basically the opposite of communication, where it's a song about the feeling of being left behind and the sort of anger and the stuff that kind of comes immediately, you know. And you start like conspiratorially like thinking like, oh god, they were having an affair this whole time. That explains that, and that explains this, and all that sort of stuff, right? So that was kind of the idea of that song. It's a much slower, sort of Pink Floyd inspired sort of ballad in I feel like this guitar's out of tune. No, it's not. So how's that one go? It's also a little bit in Italian for some reason. Buongiorno Straniero, the colors inside of me are riddled with disease. Buongiorno, sconosquito, non mi fido della moglie certa dita. La puttana, to me. I can't remember how that one goes. It's a really annoying song because then it goes into this really weird bit where it's sort of like shutting down the factory, endless paperwork to sign, and I've really forgotten all the chords to it. And then it ends with this. That's not the guitar being out of tune, that's literally what the chord sounds like. It's some B suspended fucking thing, right? And then it does it again, and then it does that. So, blah, hang on, how's it go? Nothing could ever beat this. Total isolation. I'm satisfied. So that bit there, it's suddenly it becomes like there's an extra beat in there. So there's one bar of 5/4 in this chorus when the rest of the song is in 4/4. So it's a little bit fucky like that, and it's in F sharp. Sorry, F sharp Lydian. Yeah, it's in F Lydian. So you got that song, and that's quite a long one, and I really spent a lot of time like nailing down that sort of thing. I normally don't make and write out exact solos. I normally jam a solo out and kind of combine a couple ideas and see where it's going to take me from the natural improvised side. This time I made up like the solos, and I really honed the solos in because I wanted quite a specific sound. I wanted this to be quite a structured song, and I wanted it to be quite tight and rigid in its form. I made like 8 demos of it, and by the end the demos were starting to sound exactly the same. I'm just going to check that this has some. I've got 4 minutes left on this, and I've got 4 more songs to do. So we just rush through the rest of the songs because like Conclusion Delusion is really piss easy because those first 3 songs I probably spent the most time on, and then the second half of the album I went back to my more quantity over quality approach. And honestly, I think Conclusion Delusion is the best song on the album. So it's how's it go? Do we really need an ending? I mean, what the hell was that? Conclusion, delusion, I see. What is 9 in my eyes? I forgot the lyrics. And then that's literally it. And then there's a breakdown, like a metal-y sort of breakdown. It's something like that. That's probably my favourite moment in the whole album. And then the song Butterflies was another song that was written very quickly, and it's probably my second favourite song on the album. So the 2 songs that I wrote the quickest are my favourite ones, and the 2 that I spent a year on are my least favourite ones. Okay, so I think that should sort of speak volumes about why I believe so strongly in the idea of quantity over quality, because I think that quantity leads to quality, and I don't necessarily think that quality leads to quality. It's like, because I can see on Bandcamp, right? Where's the Bandcamp? If I get the Bandcamp up for you and I show you the behind the scenes of it, right? It's very obvious what songs people like and what songs people don't like by how big the red bar is. The red bar represents the skips, okay? So the song Polaroid that was on my last album that I did in a day, right? I don't think people like it very much because it's got quite a high percentage of red. So I don't know if you can see the red right there. It's got 28 red to 65 yellow, right? If you compare that to, say, Praise the End, which is a song that people obviously like a bit more, it's got 37 red to 263 yellow. So there's way more yellow than there is red, because yellow means they listen to between 10 and 90% of it. Red means they listen to under 10% of it, so they skipped it, right? The song that I thought on that album was going to be the worst one actually did way better. It had 18 red to 66 yellow. But then look at this, Communication, the song that I told you I spent over a year doing, right? 14 red to 27 yellow. That's not great, right? I don't think that's particularly good. So yeah, that sort of should go to show you that you shouldn't be so caught up in what counts as something perfect, what counts as something good, what counts as something that's worthwhile to an audience, and why I do believe that you can just publish whatever you want, because it's only an upload button. It's not like you have to pay to do it, right? And it's not like there isn't already, like, you know, millions upon trillions of hours of crap out there already. Just adding your bit of spit to the giant spitball that the human race has made isn't going to cause it to collapse under its own weight or anything. So don't worry so much about it. Worst that will happen is someone will type a little comment that will be a bit insulting. You'll read it and you'll show it to your friends and have a bit of a laugh, and that's it. Okay? So thank you so much for watching this. I know I didn't bother showing you how to play the songs because I realised it's not particularly interesting. I want to move on from this album. I don't plan on returning to these songs. The only one I plan on returning to is Conclusion Delusion, and I might play Butterflies, but I don't think I'm gonna play any of the others ever again. So they're all in the past, and it's not like I dislike them, but as I said, it's a personal album, and the way that because as I said, it's about my divorce, right? I don't really want to keep like going back to that well. That's done. It's all over. Okay. That was the point. So yeah, it's finished, the album, and I'm glad it's done, because my God, was it a fucking weight on the brain. So now it's done, I can move on to new, better projects, and I can't wait to tell you what that's going to be, because we got some new music in the pipeline. So look out for that. The Mantis Shrimps email band is slowly coming together as well. Send us an email at officialmorrisonfilms@gmail.com. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of the day. Take care, everybody, and